Room 4111's folio had been open for 1,247 nights. I found it at 3:14 a.m. on a Tuesday because my numbers wouldn't balance. That's the short version. The long version is that I'd been running the night audit at a Holiday Inn Express off I-35 for 9 years by then, and in 9 years, my numbers had never not balanced. Not once. Not by a penny. That was the thing I was good at. That was the whole reason they gave me the overnight, because I was the one who caught the decimal errors, the double-posted incidentals, the minibar charges that housekeeping fat-fingered into the wrong room. The GM used to say I could smell a bad folio from across the lobby. I took it as a compliment. I shouldn't have. The hotel sat on the Meridian Avenue exit. 112 rooms, 4 floors. The kind of property where business travelers off the turnpike checked in at 11 and checked out at 6, and never saw the pool or the breakfast bar or anything except the inside of their room and the parking lot. We ran about 40% occupancy on a good week in October. That night, we had 27 rooms sold. 27 guests, 27 folios. The revenue should have been straightforward, but the batch wouldn't close. I ran it twice, 3 times. The total kept coming up $14.50 over. Not a big number, not the kind of number that wakes up a general manager. But it was wrong, and wrong bothered me more than tired, and at 3 a.m. in an empty lobby with the overhead lights dimmed to half and the TV behind the desk muted on CNN, wrong was the only thing I had to work with. I started going through folios one at a time. Room 102, business rate, no incidentals, clean. Room 118, AAA discount, 1 movie charge, clean. Room 203, 205, 211, clean, clean, clean. I worked my way up floor by floor. Everything matched. Every folio tied out to a guest, a rate, a method of payment. 27 rooms, 27 folios, everything balanced except the total, which still showed that extra $14.50 hanging there like a decimal that wouldn't die. So I pulled the full folio list. Not just active check-ins, the complete ledger, including direct bill accounts, house accounts, anything with an open balance. That's when I saw it. 28 folios, folio number 2021-0314411, room 411, direct bill. Corporate account, Meridian Energy Solutions. Guest name field blank, status active balance, last charge posted 1:07 a.m. tonight, $14.50. Category room service. I sat there and looked at it. The lobby was quiet. The ice machine down the hall was running its cycle, that grinding hum it makes every 40 minutes, and the automatic doors at the entrance kept twitching because a moth was going at the sensor. Normal sounds. I remember them because what I was looking at on the screen was not normal. I opened the folio detail. The charge history went on for pages. I scrolled. Same charge, every night, $14.50. Room service, posted at 1:07 a.m. Every single night. I scrolled further. The charges went back months. I scrolled further, years. The folio had been opened on March 14, 2021. I did the math. March 14, 2021 to October 22, 2024. 1,247 nights. 1,247 charges of $14.50. The total billed to the corporate account was $18,081.50. Every charge was the same. Every timestamp was 1:07 a.m., and every charge was categorized as room service. Our room service kitchen closes at 10. Has since the property reopened after the 2019 renovation. We don't cook anything after 10. The breakfast prep doesn't start until 5:30 a.m. when the morning attendant comes in to heat the cinnamon rolls and start the scrambled eggs. Between 10 at night and 5:30 in the morning, there is no one in that kitchen. There is no food being prepared. There is no room service being delivered. But every night at 1:07, a $14.50 charge posted to room 411's folio like clockwork. I clicked into the charge detail on the most recent one, tonight's. The itemization was there. Chicken Caesar salad, no croutons, water, no ice. $14.50 including tax. Tendered to corporate account. The account auto-settled monthly. I pulled up last month's settlement. Approved. Paid in full. I pulled up the month before that. Approved. I went back 6 months. Every monthly bill, $435 to $450 depending on the month. Approved and paid by Meridian Energy Solutions. I'd never heard of Meridian Energy Solutions. I pulled up the corporate account profile in the billing directory. It was there. Account number, billing address on Northwest 63rd Street, contact name, contact phone. The contact name was Karen Briley. The contact phone number was 405-555-0178. That was our front desk number, the direct line. The one guests call when they don't want to go through the 1-800 reservation line. The one I was sitting next to right now. I stared at the screen. The moth hit the entrance sensor again, and the doors slid open onto the empty parking lot, and the warm October air came in smelling like asphalt and fryer grease from the Sonic across the way. The doors closed. The lobby was quiet again. I typed K. Riley into the user search field. The PMS user directory loaded. Karen Briley. Position night auditor. Start date January 7th, 2019. Termination date blank. Status active. The profile photo was a woman about my age. Brown hair pulled back. Hotel polo. The kind of employee badge photo where they make you stand against the back office wall and the flash washes you out and you look like you just woke up. Which, if you work the overnight, you probably did. I had never seen her before. I had never heard her name. I had been working the night audit at this hotel since 2015, and in 9 years, no one had ever mentioned a Karen Briley. But according to the system, she was a current employee. Active status, no termination date. And her user ID was the one attached to folio 2021-0314-411. The folio that had been running for 1,247 nights on a room service order that no one was cooking, billed to a company I'd never heard of. In a room that was currently occupied by a sales rep from Tulsa who had checked in at 6 and asked for extra pillows. I printed the folio detail. I printed the user profile. I put them next to each other on the desk, and I sat there in the half-dark lobby with the CNN ticker scrolling silently across the screen behind me. And I listened to the ice machine shut off. And I thought about the fact that somewhere in this building, every night for 3.5 years, a chicken Caesar salad with no croutons had been appearing on a bill that nobody was eating and nobody was paying attention to. And then I thought about why my numbers had never caught it before. The direct bill folios don't hit the nightly revenue batch. They settle on their own monthly cycle. The $14.50 wouldn't show up in my audit unless something glitched. Something had glitched tonight. That's the only reason I found it. I picked up the phone. I put it down. It was 3:47 a.m. There was nobody to call. The GM wouldn't answer until 7. HR was in Nashville, and they sure as hell weren't up. I was alone in the lobby with a printout of a dead folio and a user profile for an employee I'd never met, and outside the window the Sonic sign went dark because it was midnight and they were closed, and the parking lot got a little bit darker. And the moth finally gave up on the sensor, and the doors stayed shut. I didn't go upstairs. Not yet. I just sat there and I looked at Karen Briley's badge photo, and I tried to figure out why a woman I'd never heard of had a login that was still active and a folio that was still charging, and why the contact number for a corporate account that was paying $18,000 for chicken salad was the phone sitting 6 inches from my hand. The morning shift came in at 6:45. Darla, 24 years old, 8 months on the job, the kind of front desk agent who smiled like the training video told her to, and never stayed a second past clock out. I waited until she'd logged in and poured her coffee and settled behind the desk before I asked, "Darla, you ever hear of a Karen Briley?" She looked at me like I'd asked her to divide something. "Who?" I told her never mind. I sat in my car in the parking lot for 11 minutes watching the dashboard clock. The hotel looked normal, 4 floors of beige stucco and brown trim, the IHG flag hanging limp. I called the GM from my apartment, Rick Sorensen. He picked up on the 4th ring and I could hear his coffee maker going, and I said, "Rick, who is Karen Briley?" The line went quiet. Not normal quiet. The kind of quiet where someone stops what they're doing and puts a hand on the kitchen counter and stares at nothing. "Where'd you hear that name?" I told him about the folio. I told him about K. Briley's login. I told him the user profile was still active and the account had been charging room service for 3.5 years. He didn't interrupt me. When I finished, the coffee maker beeped in the background and he didn't move to get it. "Karen was our night auditor," he said. "January 2019 through March 2021. She worked the same shift you work, 11 to 7. She was good at it. What happened to her? She disappeared." He told me the rest in the flat, careful voice of a man who'd recited these facts for the police more than once. March 14, 2021. Karen clocked in at 11 p.m. She ran the beginning of her shift. Lobby checks, walk-ins, started the audit batch. At some point after midnight, she stopped. The morning agent found the desk empty at 6:50 a.m. Computer still on. Audit half finished. Karen's purse in the break room. Jacket on the back of the chair. Her car, a 2014 Nissan Altima, silver, in the second row of the lot, locked, keys in the center console. Police searched the hotel, every room, every stairwell, every storage closet. Nothing. No sign of a struggle. No sign of anything except an employee who stood up from the desk and stopped existing. The security footage showed Karen at the desk at 12:48 a.m. The camera cycles to the lobby entrance, and when it pans back 4 seconds later, the chair is empty. 4 seconds, I said. 4 seconds. And nobody deactivated her login? Another long pause. I put in a ticket with corporate IT. You know how that goes. I should have followed up. He paused. "Liz, don't touch that folio. Don't close it. I'm going to get someone from IT down here." I said yes. I lied. I didn't sleep that day. Lay in my apartment in Norman staring at the ceiling and thinking about chicken Caesar salad at 1:07 a.m. At 10 that night, I was back heading north on I-35, and when I pulled into the lot at 10:40, the building looked exactly the same, except now I was looking at it the way you look at a house when someone tells you something died in it. I clocked in, Darla clocked out, alone again. 112 rooms, 27 occupied, lobby dimmed to half. I sat at FD01 and pulled up Karen Briley's user activity log. I shouldn't have. Rick told me not to touch anything, but I wasn't touching the folio. I was looking at the user. That's what I told myself at 11:15 p.m. with no one in the lobby and the parking lot dark beyond the Sonic sign. The activity log loaded, and what I saw in it sat me back in my chair. Karen Briley's login, Carolee, had logged into the PMS system every single night since March 14, 2021. Login time, 11:07 p.m. Logout time, 6:53 a.m. Every night. 1,247 consecutive sessions. The login accessed the same functions every session. Night audit batch, folio management, wake-up call scheduler, room status board. The same sequence, the same order, the same timestamps within a minute or two of variance. For 3.5 years, someone, or something, had been logging into this hotel's property management system, using the credentials of a woman who vanished from this desk and was never seen again. And it had been working the night audit. Every night. Running the same routine Karen would have run, posting the same charge, managing the same folio, and logging out before the morning shift arrived. Every single time. I sat there. The ice machine cycled on. The lobby smelled like old carpet and lemon cleaning solution. My hand was on the mouse and I could feel my palm leaving a mark on the plastic. I pulled up room 411's door lock log. The electronic lock tracks every access, every keycard swipe, every manual override, every entry and exit. The log showed the current guest checked in at 6:07 p.m., keycard swipe at 6:09 p.m. Before that, housekeeping turnover at 1:15 p.m. Before that, previous guest checkout keycard return at 10:22 a.m. Normal access pattern, no anomalies, no unauthorized entries. Nobody had physically gone into room 411 since the current guest at 6 p.m. But at 1:07 a.m., 5 hours later, a room service charge had posted to a phantom folio for food that nobody cooked from a kitchen that was locked and dark. I stood up. I took the master key from the lockbox behind the desk. I told myself I was doing a standard security walk. 4th floor, check the corridor, listen for noise complaints. I didn't believe myself, but my feet believed the elevator call button, and I pushed it, and the doors opened, and I stepped in and I pressed 4. The elevator was slow. It always was. I watched the numbers. 2, 3, 4. The doors opened onto the 4th floor corridor. Tan carpet, LED panels, quiet. No ice machine on this floor. The machine was on 3. Nothing humming, nothing running, just the corridor stretching out to the left toward the east wing and the fire exit sign at the far end glowing red. I stepped out. The doors closed behind me, and I smelled it. Caesar dressing. The unmistakable anchovy and lemon and garlic smell of Caesar dressing. At 1:12 a.m., in a hotel corridor where no food had been prepared for 3 hours, and the nearest restaurant was a closed Sonic drive-in across the parking lot. I walked toward room 411. The smell got stronger. My shoes were quiet on the carpet, the thin corporate carpet that absorbs everything. Sound, light, the particular kind of silence that happens when you know you're the only person awake on a floor, and you start to wonder if that's true. Room 411 was at the end of the east wing. I turned the corner, and there it was, a room service tray, white linen, white plate, sitting on the carpet outside 411's door, the way room service trays get set out when a guest is finished eating and puts it outside for pickup. On the plate, chicken Caesar salad. No croutons. A water glass empty, still wet on the inside. A folded napkin, a knife and fork crossed on the plate in that particular way that says I'm done. The food was fresh, the lettuce wasn't wilted, the chicken was cold the way it's cold when it comes out of a walk-in cooler, not the way it's cold when it's been sitting in a hallway for hours. This salad had been assembled recently, by someone, in a kitchen that was locked. I bent down, lifted the tray, and underneath it, on the carpet, there was a guest comment card. The little folded card we leave on the nightstand that says, "Tell us about your stay." Most guests throw them away. A few fill them out and leave them at the desk. This one was filled out. Blue ink. Neat handwriting, slanted slightly to the right, the kind of careful penmanship that people over 50 tend to have. It said, "Wonderful stay. We'll be back tomorrow night. K. Briley, room 411. I put the tray down. I put the comment card in my pocket. I did not knock on the door. I did not use the master key. I went back to the elevator and I pressed L, and I rode down with my hand shaking against my leg, and the Caesar dressing smell fading one floor at a time until the doors opened on the lobby and it was just carpet and lemon cleaner again. But the comment card was still in my pocket, and when I got back to the desk and looked at the folio on my screen, The charge was there. 1:07 a.m., $14.50, chicken Caesar salad, no croutons, water, no ice, settled to Meridian Energy Solutions. Approved. Balance 0. Like it had been every night for the last 1,247 nights. I sat back down at the front desk with the comment card in my pocket and the smell of Caesar dressing still in my sinuses, and I did the thing I should not have done. I tried to close Karen Briley's folio. I pulled up folio 2021-034-411. I selected Close Folio. I clicked Confirm. The screen flashed. Error message, folio locked by user K. Briley. Active session detected. Cannot override while user session is in progress. Contact system administrator. I clicked through the error. Tried again. Same message. I tried to force settle the balance to 0. Same error. I tried to transfer the charges to a house account and close the corporate folio. The system wouldn't let me move a single line item. Every action I tried came back to the same wall. K. Briley's session was active, the folio was locked, and no other user, including my own, had the authority to override a logged-in user's active folio. So I went into system administration. I wasn't supposed to have access to that module. Night auditors don't, usually. But Rick had given me the admin password 2 years ago when the credit card processor went down at 2 a.m. and corporate IT's helpline had a 40-minute hold time. I'd written the password on a sticky note under the keyboard. It was still there. I logged into the admin panel. I pulled up active user sessions. There were 2. Session 1. User L. Crawford, terminal, FD01. Logged in, 11:02 p.m. That was me. Liz Crawford, my terminal, my session. Session 202. Logged in, 11:07 p.m. Active. FD02 was the back office workstation. It sat in the small room behind the front desk, the room we used for filing, printing, and storing the lost and found bin. The door between the front desk and the back office was always half open. Had been all night. FD02 was behind that door, 2 feet from where I was sitting. I turned around slowly. Through the half-open door, I could see the back office. I could see the filing cabinet. I could see the edge of the desk, and I could see the screen. It was on. The monitor on FD02 was glowing. Pale blue-white light reflecting off the surface of the desk and the wall behind it. I had walked past that door a dozen times tonight. I had put my jacket in that room at 11 p.m. when I clocked in. The screen had been off, dark. I was sure of it. I was sure because I always checked. There was a company policy about logging out of terminals at the end of your shift, and I always checked both screens before I settled in. The screen had been dark at 11. It was 1:23 a.m. now, and it was on. I stood up. My chair rolled back and bumped the counter. The sound was too loud for the empty lobby. I stepped toward the doorway. The back office was small, 8 by 10. Desk against the wall, filing cabinet to the left, dusty fire extinguisher on a shelf. FD02 sat on the desk, same model as my terminal. The monitor was displaying the night audit worksheet. Not just any night audit worksheet. The same report I had been running on FD01, the same batch summary, the same date, but the numbers were different. My screen, FD01, showed 27 rooms occupied. FD02 showed 28. The extra room was 411. On FD02's audit worksheet, room 411 showed a line item I had never entered. Guest name, Briley, Karen. Rate, folio balance, rolling. Room status, occupied. Notes, do not disturb, do not reassign, do not close. The cursor was blinking in the notes field. As I stood in the doorway watching, text began to appear. Letter by letter. No one was typing. No one was sitting at the desk. The keyboard was untouched. I could see the keys. None of them were moving. But the cursor advanced and letters appeared on the screen, slow and steady. the way they do when someone types with 2 fingers and looks at each key before they press it. The text read, "She found it." I stopped breathing. The letters sat there on the screen, blinking with the cursor at the end. She found it. The she was me. The it was the folio. Karen Briley, or whatever was using Karen Briley's login, knew I was here, knew I was looking, knew I had found the folio that had been running in the dark for 1,247 nights. I backed out of the doorway. My heel caught the plastic chair mat, and I stumbled, but I didn't fall. I grabbed the edge of the front desk counter and turned to face FD01. My screen had changed. My night audit worksheet, the one I'd been running all night, the one that showed 27 rooms occupied, now showed 28. Room 411 had 2 folios on my screen. The current guest folio, normal, paid by corporate card, balance pending, and Karen's folio, both active, both tied to room 411. And as I watched, the 2 folios began to merge, the line items interleaved. The current guest's room charge appeared on Karen's folio. Karen's room service charge appeared on the guest's folio. The corporate account, Meridian Energy Solutions, bankrupt since 2020, was now paying for both. The guest's credit card authorization had been voided. There was a notation in the system, payment method changed by user KB Riley, 1:24 a.m. A bankrupt company was settling tonight's charges for a room occupied by a living person who had no idea any of this was happening in the system underneath his stay. I printed the night audit report. The printer whirred and spat out 4 pages. I took them. I took the comment card from my pocket. I folded everything together, put it in my jacket, and logged out of FD01. I did not log out of FD02. I didn't go back into that room. The screen was still glowing through the doorway, and I could see, from the corner of my eye, that the cursor was still moving. More text appearing in the notes field. I didn't read it. I picked up my jacket from the hook by the front desk, not from the back office where I'd hung it when I clocked in. I'd moved it earlier in the shift. Or had I? I couldn't remember. It was on the hook now, and that was enough. I walked across the lobby. The automatic doors opened because they sensed a real person walking toward them for once. The parking lot was dark. The Sonic sign was off. My car was in the 3rd row, right where I'd left it. It started on the first try. I pulled out of the lot and I turned south on Meridian, and I didn't look back at the building in my mirror. The Waffle House on Meridian was open. It's always open. I sat at the counter and ordered coffee, and the waitress, girl about Darla's age, tired eyes, name tag said Jennifer, asked if I'd just gotten off work. I said yes. She asked where I worked. I said a hotel. She said which one. I opened my mouth to answer, and I realized I didn't want to say it. Not because I'd forgotten, because saying the name out loud felt like confirming that it was real, that everything I'd seen in the last 2 nights was real, and I wasn't ready for it to be real yet. I said off 35. She poured my coffee and didn't ask again. I didn't go back. I called Rick the next morning and told him I was done. He didn't argue. He said he understood. He sounded like a man who expected the call. 2 weeks later, my direct deposit hit. I checked the pay stub because the amount was wrong, too much. The stub showed I'd worked 14 night audit shifts since the night I walked out, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Every night, I had worked 0. I called HR. The woman in Nashville pulled up my employee file. She said my ID was active, my schedule was full, and I had been clocking in every night at 11:07 p.m. I told her I quit 2 weeks ago. She said they had no resignation on file. I asked her who was clocking in under my ID. She put me on hold. The hold music was the same smooth jazz the hotel lobby played overnight, that same piano loop I'd listened to for 9 years. The one that played so softly you stopped hearing it after the first hour. I heard it now. She came back. Ma'am, according to the system, you're clocked in right now. It was 3:14 p.m. I was in my apartment. I hadn't been to the hotel in 14 days. I hung up. I looked at the pay stub. 14 shifts at 11:07 p.m. Same login time Karen Briley used. Same login time I had used for 9 years. The system didn't know the difference between us. Or maybe it did and it didn't care. I didn't call back. I never called back. I threw the pay stub away. The next one came 2 weeks later. Same thing. 14 shifts I didn't work. I threw